All right. How is it going, everyone? Coach Jake here with our third Dream Talk with our player edition. Today we welcome Abby Guiher to the segment here. Super excited to talk about her. Another great story. So far, I've loved to hear all of the things so far. Had some great insight from coaches, from players. Hopefully, guys are tuning in trying to again pick up on just little things that may help take them to the next level. So I've really been enjoying this. I'm pumped to talk to Abby, and I can't wait to hear a little bit about what she has to say. So Abby, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
No doubt. So Abby, let's just kind of go through your story to start, kind of get a little background. So let's start with who you are, where you're from, and what year you are in school.
I'm Abby Guiher. I'm a junior and I go to DuBois High School.
Okay, you went to DuBois your whole career?
Yes.
Okay, so you're obviously from DuBois then.
Yeah.
So Abby, when did you start playing varsity basketball?
I played varsity my 9th grade year a little bit, but I started varsity 10th grade year.
Okay, yeah, I knew that you'd been you kind of moved up from a younger age now. I know right now you're a junior at DuBois Area High School. So this is not your first go at varsity basketball. So let's just talk about kind of your passion for hoops because knowing you, Abby, that's one of the things that really stands out to me and has stood out is just you can tell you love it. You absolutely love it. So is there a point in time where you can remember falling in love with it, or like let's go through your thought process of how you gained that passion for hoops?
So I didn't really play basketball until 4th grade, so I was kind of late to basketball. But once I started playing in 4th grade, I had a real talent for it, and I don't know, I just fell in love with it, kept playing, and now I'm here.
So is it more of a it kind of chose you type of deal?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so very little force needed, it just very naturally just kind of started playing and picked it up and just haven't been able to put it down since.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, and to this day, yeah, I'm still a gym rat. Like it just, surprises me. There's not even a ton of people in this area, especially that really love it to the point where like they'll play by themselves. I
Yeah.
see you all the time at the Y, yourself with your headphones in, just getting shots up. Well, what's the thoughts there?
I mean, I don't know. I like going and just it's a good outlet, but also I just think it's so fun and it's just I don't know. I just love it.
Okay. So, let's just couple accomplishments that I know off the bat here. I'm sure I'm missing a ton of them, but one, been part of the varsity program since 9th grade. That says something. A starter from 10th grade. But just checking out a few stats, you were 20th in scoring in the district.
Mhm.
So, top 20 scorer in the district. Um, is scoring something that you focus on, or does it come naturally?
It more comes naturally. I'm a point guard for my team, but this year especially, I kind of uh, took that on because we were a very young team. We had no seniors and only 4 juniors, so we're a young team. And because of the experience I've had, like I tried to just help my team in any way I could, and I knew that scoring, especially from the three, was very important, and it helped us win games. So I just kind of stepped in wherever I needed to, and that just happened to be scoring this year.
So that's a lead right into kind of your high school experience this year. Congrats on a first round district win against Belfont. Is that correct?
Yes, that's it.
You guys got that. That was a close win at home. So congrats on that. But you spoke there on your team makeup, and right now this year you had no seniors, 4 juniors, and the rest were sophomores and freshmen. So what is that teaching you from a leadership side of things?
It's It's a lot because I've never really been a leader on my team. I've always just done whatever I needed to help the team. But this year I had to take on that role, and it was uncomfortable at first because I'm not like allowed. Like I'm very quiet, more reserved, and so it was challenging for me at first. But I just did whatever I could to help the team, and the girls, they looked at me for leadership, so I just did whatever I could to help them and contribute as much as I could to the team.
So you said about you're not usually a leader, and this year you had to pick up some of those leadership roles. Do you mind touching on anything that stands out as far as what you had to do this year as a leader that in the past you might not have had to do?
I had to I kind of stepped in, and like anytime like during practices, if like I seen like something like going on that I didn't necessarily like agree with, or if a girl was struggling with something and I could help, I tried to help in any way that I could. And like there would be times when we would go to practice and we just didn't want to be there, but I tried to do whatever I could to lift the spirits and get the girls to just get a good workout in, and just overall help the team and help us regain focus to help us win games.
Was this your first district win, or have you had a win in the past?
We won last year, and that was like, I think last year was the first time in like 20 something years, 24 years, I think.
Okay. So for next season, it's got to look somewhat hopeful for your team. I know you guys finished with a pretty good record. You were, above 500. You had a first round district win with not a senior on the team, which means everybody is going to be returning. What are your thoughts on that? What are your expectations?
That's something we're excited about because, like you said, we're going to have the same team going into next year. So the chemistry is already going to be there, because that's something that we've always struggled with at the beginning of the season, is the team chemistry. But the chemistry is already there. So we all have like the same mentality of wanting to win, and we think we can next year because we do have the experience. And so that was another thing, is we're very excited to get into like open gyms and just start playing again. And hopefully our goal is to get that district title next year, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So from your perspective, talking on your team chemistry, what does that mean to you? You hear people talk about team chemistry often, but to somebody who may not know what team chemistry is, or how to generate it, give us a few examples of something that you saw as far as team chemistry that really impacted games.
Um, I like to think of it as just being a selfless player. With me, I try to pass the ball more than I try to just take it for myself. I'm not worried about my stats as far as scoring goes. I'm more worried about the entire team working together to ultimately help us win games. So for me, I was more worried about the team just being on the same page and, passing the ball and being selfless with it, rather than just have one girl take over all the scoring, because that's, at the end of the day, basketball is a team sport. It's not there for just individuals. So that's big for me, at least. I'm very big on sharing the ball and communicating, and it works both ways, not just with the ball, but on defense too. It's very big to communicate with the team, and if you're not communicating, you're not winning games.
No doubt about it. I mean, communication is a tough thing to learn, and to be good at. There are great communicators in the game, and there are people who still need to work on communication. So, I mean, no doubt about it that communication is a huge part of that team environment and having that team chemistry you talk about. How are you supposed to be on the same page and playing in unison with someone if you're not communicating with them? That's definitely huge. So great job on that. So Ab, I know that one of your main strengths in basketball is your three-point shooting. Um, Talk about how much work you've put into becoming a good three-point shooter.
So I've been working with Albert Vericello for a few years now. I don't even remember when I started. I've been going there for a while. Just working, like try to get in once a week, get shots up. He's really helped me perfect my form and just showed me different drills I can do to help my shot and get better and just become a more confident shooter. Because I mean, like, I remember like middle school, I was not confident with the ball, and just working with him, not just with shooting but dribbling too, like, it's honestly helped me a great deal. Like I said, it's helped me become more confident, and that's why this year especially the three ball was key for me with my scoring. But yeah, I just worked really hard on perfecting my form and honestly consistency. Like, I've been very consistent shooting every day, at least every day that I can. And that really helped me with my scoring this year.
Yeah, I mean, Albert's one of the best in the game at shooting. You could put him right there alongside of anybody as far as his fundamentals go and his ability to, help somebody else. So, you're out there looking to be a shooter, definitely a great guy to contact, Albert Varichello. But Ab, you talked there about your confidence, and that's funny because this is something I have written down to talk about with you is I see you, and this is no hit on anybody or anything. But I see you playing pickup all the time at the Y, and it's mostly with if there's 10 people on the floor, there's 9 guys and yourself. So that says a lot about just your fearlessness to just go be a competitor. It touches on the love of the game because you just don't care who you're playing with, but talk about that type of like just fearlessness, or is it fearlessness or is it confidence or is it both?
I'd say it's a little bit of both. I I like playing against the guys because it challenges me. A lot of them are quicker or faster than me. They're all very talented, so for me, it just helps me get better. Yeah, I'd say it's a little bit of both. I mean, like, it's a little bit. It's scary at first. It was scary at first for me, but then I got to know them, and it just got so fun for me to just be able to go play and like not even worry about like high school ball, just to go play and have fun. It contributed a lot to my confidence, especially playing this year at high school ball, because most of the girls aren't going to be as tall as those guys are. So it helped me kind of learn how to navigate around that and figure out what I needed to do in order to put the ball in the hoop.
So I'm sure it was pretty uncomfortable to start out with, especially the first couple times. How did you work through that? I mean, I'm sure, just guessing, the first couple times, especially to those who didn't know you, and you step on, with a group of guys, and some of them, a lot of them are even older than you. What was it like working through? I mean, I'm sure that they didn't play you very hard to begin with, and then they realized, I better play hard here.
Yeah, I had to prove myself, but I mean, I love proving myself. I do it all the time, not just with high school ball, AAU, anywhere I go. Like, I'm on the shorter side for a basketball player, and so I think sometimes people kind of look over me, and especially the guys. Like, here's a girl walking in, like playing basketball, but I had to prove myself, and once I did, they realized that I was actually a threat, and that's why they play me just as hard as they would play any of their friends, and it's ultimately just helped me get better.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, you can tell your development over the years and just how much you have stayed on the improvement side of things and just continue to get better. Obviously pushing yourself in aspects like that, and just stepping out of your comfort zone. You hear people talk all the time about making yourself uncomfortable. If you're comfortable with something, you're not going to improve very much on it. But if you're uncomfortable, just getting to a level of comfort is just drastic improvement itself. So that's awesome. You also touched there on your AAU experience. So let's talk about that a little bit. This would have been your third season with the AAU team?
Yeah. I started playing AAU in 7th grade with a team, PA Blue Thunder. But yeah, this would have been my 3rd year with DuBois Dream. I started playing my 9th grade year.
Okay. So what has that done for you?
Um, Honestly, when I started playing AAU, I really didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't even know really what AAU was, and then I got into it, and I just fell in love with it. You just go into tournaments every weekend and just getting to play. That's the one thing with high school ball. Sometimes there's a lot of added pressure, but with AAU, you just get to play, and it ultimately just helps you get better because you're playing against these teams that are just crazy good. Like last season, my Blue Thunder team, we played against a team that had like 5 D1 players on it, and like I had to guard a 6'3" point guard, but it ultimately helps you get so much better because you don't see that kind of competition at high school ball at all. So it's so fun to be able to just see what other kinds of players are out there and just learn from them.
So along with AAU, have you done any, I know you have, but what all camps have you went to?
I've done a lot of camps. I did a few camps with Shayna Mosh. Um, I went to a breakthrough basketball camp in Erie my 7th grade year, I think, or going into 8th grade. Um, I've done your camp. I did your camp last year. I went to PGC 2 years ago in Ohio, and that was just a great experience. I loved it. I got really good from that. That really just showed me like how much you can just work and just better yourself. Yeah, I've done quite a lot. Those are just the few that stick out the most.
So for anyone who is tuned in right now and doesn't know, PGC is Point Guard College, and it's basically. Did you do the week-long program there?
Yes.
So yeah, you go for the whole week. You take a notebook with you, and it is it's structured to not only help you with the physical aspects of the game, but also the mental aspects of the game. So, you're talking about going to camps when you're going into 7th and 8th grade. So you were already on the grind when you were in 7th grade. Do you remember a general point in time where things just started to click for you, and it's like, oh, hold on, I'm not just kind of getting lost in the motions here. I'm kind of starting to control this thing a little bit. Do you remember when that was?
I'd say after my middle school season, that was when I started AAU, and after AAU, I just started doing camps, and that's when it started rolling, and I just wanted to do more and get better. Like I said, when I was in 7th grade, I wasn't the best ball handler or shooter, but I wanted to get better because I saw these other girls around me that were better, and I just wanted to be just like them.
Who were some of your role models?
Ooh, um, I looked up to a lot of the high school girls, especially in middle school, but now I'd say like Sabrina Ionescu, she's crazy. I watch a lot of college ball, so like that team in general was Oregon's team was just so good this year, and it was just so fun to watch them and see their players and how well they work together. So I definitely say I look up to a lot of college players, but especially Sabrina.
So speaking of college, you're going to be entering next year, your senior year. I would venture to guess that you're interested in playing college basketball.
I would love to, yeah.
Do you have any ideas or any dreams that you'd want to go to?
I'm open to pretty much anywhere as long as they have like any majors I'm looking into and stuff. I'm open to going anywhere if I'm given the opportunity to.
That's awesome. So for somebody like you, just finished your junior year, pretty successful season. Your stats were really good. Your knowledge of the game's good. You commit a ton of time to it. And here we are faced with quarantine that you can't play, you can't go out. I mean, if you got a hoop at home, you can shoot around by yourself, which I'm sure isn't a huge issue for yourself. But going into a big senior year where, if you really want to make a good shot at a big time school, this is the year to show yourself, your last year at it. So what's your mentality right now, with your situation and going into your senior year?
I pushing myself to work harder and better myself. I've been dribbling as much as possible because you can always get better at dribbling. I've been working out a lot, lifting, doing whatever I can to get quicker, just doing whatever I can to just better myself and better my game going into my senior year to help me stand out.
How important, because I've seen you play multiple times, before. You're a really high energy player as well. So, not only are you a good scorer, a good shooter, and a threat on offense, but I think you led your team in steals this year. You had multiple games that you had over 5 steals. And so, I mean, your presence on defense is saying just as much as your offensive ability. So what does that say, and how important is endurance to you?
It's very important. For me, especially this year, I played the whole game, almost every single game. So whether or not I wanted to, I was going to be out there. So conditioning and endurance is just crazy important for me. So even like in my off time during the season, anytime I could, I was running and doing whatever I could to keep my cardio up. So when I was getting in those games, I wasn't getting tired.
Yeah, and again, that's kind of the aspect we talked about earlier of just making yourself uncomfortable. I know a lot of players who put a ton of hours in the gym, but they're doing it at a comfortable speed, and so you don't see that type of improvement. Where you hear coaches talk, but until you're actually in that situation where it's fourth quarter, you've had to guard the best player the whole game, and you're being guarded by the best player the whole game, and you're in a tie basketball game. There's no time to be tired. You can't blame a missed shot or a turnover or getting beat on defense on you being tired. So just working through those, making yourself uncomfortable when you're working out is going to prepare you for your big time moments, because those are the big time moments. Down the stretch, when everybody else is tired, the separation can be who isn't.
Yeah, definitely.
So just to kind of wrap things up here a little bit for you, as far as you kind of fell in love. We talked at a young age. You picked it up pretty naturally, and you've been at it ever since. To someone who's in fourth grade now or fifth grade now, that's going, hey, I want to be like her. What kind of advice could you give them, or is there something that you know now that you wish you would have understood better at a younger age?
I wish that I would have. I wish that people would have talked about it more. Girls basketball especially isn't talked about nearly as much. So I wish people would have talked about it more, and I would have been exposed to it more at a young age. I know like there's people that start playing AAU when they're in like second grade, and and I wish that would have been the case for me when I was younger. I wish I would have been able to play AAU at a younger age, but like I said, I didn't even start playing basketball till I was in fourth grade. So that would be one thing that I really wish I would have been able to do, is start playing AAU from a younger age.
You say about how people don't talk about girls basketball that much. What does that, what does that mean to you, or does that, cause any types of feelings, and if so, how do you work through those?
It's frustrating, especially like at the high school level. Obviously, we don't get nearly as many people at our games, which it's challenging, but ultimately it just makes me want to work harder, and it makes me want other people to realize that girls basketball can be just as entertaining and rough as guys basketball can be. So it just makes me work harder. It makes me want to show people that I can keep up with the guys just as fast as they go. So it does get frustrating, but it's ultimately it's rewarding because it's making me work harder.
Well, Ab, if do you have any closing thoughts to this, or anything else that you want to say to not only the youth, but maybe girls on your team now, in quarantine. Like I said, I'm sure you guys have big expectations for next year. So just any final thoughts?
Just keep working. Obviously, we have a lot of free time now, so I've been keeping myself busy, and I think everyone else should keep themselves busy and do something to better themselves. So whether it's working out, it's shooting, it's dribbling, whatever you can to better yourself, not just in basketball, but just as a person in general.
Ab, that's a great way to close. a lot of people get so invested and so wrapped up in the game itself that they forget about the little things. Coach Kaleri talked on the last segment a lot about character and how big that is to a coach and to a team. Really, a team environment is a family environment. You have to have a level of trust there that is at a certain standard in order to achieve anything significant. I like how you touch on just making yourself a better person as well. It doesn't always have to be basketball. It can be random things. They say Kobe Bryant in his downtime would just study anything, because any amount of knowledge that he had, he could figure out different ways to apply it in one way or another. So, great job. Loved hearing from you. Can't wait to see what you guys do next year. You're individually, you're definitely a player to watch. Everybody keep an eye out for Abby here at DuBois and the DuBois team in general under Coach Kreiner. Big expectations from yourself as well as, I'm sure, the people in the surrounding area. So keep the team focused, keep them all motivated, keep yourself motivated. And again, if there's anything obviously that I can do to help you as far as taking your game to the next level, getting you exposure, anything. I know you talk with Albert a lot. He's in the same boat. But just keep reaching out, keep making contacts, stay focused, and you got a really bright future. So super excited to see where that lands.
Thank you, Jake.
No problem. So again, anybody tuning in, Abby Guiher here, junior from DuBois. And this was the 3rd edition of Dream Talk Players Edition. Thanks, Ab.